Hello class 9, hope all of you are well. Today we are going to talk about polynomial, remainder theorem and factor theorem. Starting with polynomial, uh, the expression of the form is called a polynomial of x. Now, what is the behavior of this form? Look at the powers. The powers of the variables can't be negative number. It can be 0 or any positive number, but it won't be any negative number. Okay, and the leading coefficient. What is the leading coefficient? The coefficient of the highest powered variable is called the leading coefficient. It also won't be 0. So any expression of this form is a polynomial. Actually, it's a single variable polynomial. It's the polynomial of x. So we can express it as p of x. The highest power is called the degree of the polynomial. Let's see the examples. Here the leading coefficient is 2 because 2 is the coefficient of highest powered variable and the power of the variable is 2. So it's a second degree polynomial of x. We call it quadratic polynomial of x. Now any constant like a or 2 or 3, uh, it's also a polynomial, though it's a single term, but it's a polynomial because we can write it a x to the power 0 form. So the constants are 0 degree polynomial of x. uh, Here it's the constant, so it's the polynomial. It's a single degree polynomial of x, but 3 by x it's not a polynomial because the power of x is here -1 and it is -2, so they are not polynomials. Now 0 is exception. It's called a polynomial of undefined degree. Okay, it's not a 0 degree polynomial of x. It's an undefined degree polynomial. Okay, and now I have a small task for you. Try to draw the quadratic polynomial x square in the graph paper. You know how to draw it. Take y is equal to x square, then put some values of x, both positive values and negative values. Calculate the values of y for them and plot them in the graph paper. Now we are going to divide this polynomial by twice x minus 1. X times twice x minus 1 is twice x square minus x, and we have remainder 3. Now, remainder theorem is a very strong mathematical tool. We can calculate remainder with the help of this theorem without dividing. Let's see what it says. Uh, if we divide any polynomial p of x by ax minus b, look at the form ax minus b, then p of b by a will be the remainder. Now let's check it out. In this case, our p of x is twice x square minus x plus 3, and ax minus b is twice x minus 1. So b is 1 and a is 2. Then our remainder will be p of 1 by 2, p of half. How we can calculate p of half? Just put half wherever we see x. Okay, um, calculating this we get 3. Now one thing you need to be careful about: if we divide p of x by ax minus b, then p of b by a will be the remainder. But if we divide p of x by ax plus b, then p of minus b by a will be our remainder. We are going to calculate another remainder. Now this time our polynomial is x square minus 9. We are going to divide this polynomial by x minus 3 and see what is our remainder. So according to remainder theorem, ax minus b, a is 1, b is 3. So our remainder will be p of b by a, that means p of 3 by 1, that means p of 3. So p of 3 is 0, that means our remainder is 0. If the remainder is 0, we can divide our polynomial by x minus 3 without any remainder. That means x minus 3 is one of its factor. Alright, if we factorize this, we can see that x minus 3 is one of its factor. Now here comes the factor theorem. For any polynomial p of x, if we get p of b is equal to 0, then x minus b is a factor of that polynomial. Okay, uh, here we got p of 3 is equal to 0, so x minus 3 is a factor of our polynomial. Again, if p of b by a is equal to 0, uh, then ax minus b is a factor of p of x. If ax minus b is the divisor, then we know how to calculate the remainder. P of b by a will be the remainder, and if the remainder is 0, of course it's a factor. Okay, here's the factor theorem. Again, you need to be careful about these two things. If p of minus b is equal to 0, then x plus b is our factor, and if p of minus b by a is equal to 0, then ax plus b is our factor. Okay, let's find a factor of number 11. Here it is. Now we need to find a value of x for which p of x is equal to 0, but x এর তো মিলিয়ন অফ ভ্যালু আছে, কোনটা ছেড়ে কোনটা চেক করব, তাই না? এতগুলো চেক করবে বা কিভাবে? সো এট ফার্স্ট আমাদের যেটা করতে হবে সেটা হচ্ছে আমাদের প্যারামিটার লিমিটেড করতে হবে। আমাদের দেখতে হবে যে এখানে কোনো কনস্ট্যান্ট টার্ম আছে কিনা। হ্যাঁ, কনস্ট্যান্ট টার্ম আছে, সেটা হচ্ছে 6, এবং লিডিং কোএফিসিয়েন্ট লিডিং কোএফিসিয়েন্ট হচ্ছে 1। তো এই ফর্মে যদি থাকে যেখানে লিডিং কোএফিসিয়েন্ট হচ্ছে 1 এবং কনস্ট্যান্ট টার্ম হচ্ছে 6, we need to factorize 6 and take both of its signs. Uh, both sign factors of 6 are plus minus 1, plus minus 2, plus minus 3, and plus minus 6. One of these numbers, for one of these numbers, p of x will be 0. In this case, p of minus 1 is 0. So according to the factor theorem, if p of minus b is equal to 0, then x plus b is a factor of p of x. Now x plus 1 is a factor of p of x. Now we're going to find a factor for another one. Here our polynomial is 2x to the power 4 minus 3x cubed minus 3x minus 2. Look at it. Here our leading coefficient is 2, it's not 1. Now for this form, we need to find both signed factors of the constant term at first. I named it n. The both signed factors of 2 are plus minus 1 and plus minus 2. And then we need to find the both signed factors of leading coefficient. It is also same, plus minus 1 and plus minus 2. I named it d. Okay, now all the possible numbers of the form n by d, look, plus minus 1 by plus minus 1, it is plus minus 1. Then plus minus 1 by plus minus 2, it is plus minus half. Plus minus 2 divided by plus minus 1, it is plus minus 2. And plus minus 2 divided by plus minus 2, it is plus minus 1. One of these numbers, again for one of these numbers, p of x is gonna be 0. So in this case, p of minus half is 0. And again, according to the factor theorem, if p of minus b by a is equal to 0, then ax plus b is our factor. So here a is 1, here a is 2 and b is 1, so 2x plus 1 is our factor. Alright, if we know a single factor of any polynomial, we can easily resolve that polynomial into factors. Let's resolve this polynomial into factors because we know one of its factor, which is 2x plus 1. Okay, the first step is we need to keep blank a single line. Then we need to write the factor 2x plus 1. Now we need to multiply this factor by any number and variable, and our target is to create this thing 2x to the power 4. Now how we can make 2x to the power 4? We need to multiply it with with x cube. Alright, multiply this with x cube and write down the results here. Okay, write the result here. So our result is 2x to the power 4 and x cube, but we have minus 3x cube. Now we need to adjust this term. So for adjusting this term, again we need to write 2x plus 1 here and multiply it. So how we can make it minus 3x cube? We need minus 4x cube to adjust this. Okay, so we need to multiply this with minus 2x square. Now we get minus 4x cube and again minus 2x square. So this is an extra term. Okay, minus 2x square. We don't have minus 2x square here. Again, we need to adjust this, so we need a plus 2x square here. Okay, again take 2x plus 1 and multiply it with plus x. All right, then we get plus 2x square. uh, Again we have extra x. We need minus 3x, so we need minus 4x here. Again we take 2x plus 1 and multiply it by minus 2, so we get minus 4x and minus 2. Minus 4x plus x becomes minus 3x, and minus 2 is here. Okay, now take 2x plus 1 common. uh, we have another polynomial, we need to factorize it. Just take x square common from these two terms and 1 from these two terms. Alright, now we can take common x minus 2, and we just factorize 2x to the power 4 minus 3x cube minus 3x minus 2. I hope you all understood this. This is all for today's lecture, and now it's time for some homework. Alright, exercise 3.4, the marked ones are your homework, and carefully look at the examples 31, 32 and 33. They are very important for your exam. So সবাই ভালো থাকো, সুস্থ থাকো। কোথাও বুঝতে যদি কোনো প্রবলেম হয়, feel free to contact me. আজকের মতো এখানেই বিদায়।